Hello, everybody. Good evening. The latest episode 2 of Mystery Ghost Stories. If you remember last week, I told you the topic. For those just joining in who didn't watch last week, tonight's topic, we are going to Bobby Mackey's. For those that don't know what that is, Bobby Mackey's is a nightclub, and it's said to be quite haunted, hence the reason we're talking about it tonight. So without further ado, let's take a look into Bobby Mackey's. Not sure how long this video will run, so let's just see where she'll take us. Bobby Mackey's Music World is a nightclub in honky tonk located in Wilder, Kentucky, owned by country singer Bobby Mackey. Urban legends claim the nightclub is the site of hauntings, murders, and suicides. However, no credible evidence exists for such claims. So, for about 30 years, for probably as long as Bobby Mackey has owned the establishment, people have claimed that some strange, spooky ass shit goes on. Bobby Mackey himself, on several occasions, has claimed that he hasn't really seen or heard anything, probably because he's probably used to them and they're probably used to him. But yeah, so we're gonna get in. I'm gonna get into a lot of information here. So again, bear with me. All right. All right. Promoted in popular culture as the most haunted nightclub in America, Mackey claims the site was originally used as a slaughterhouse in the early 19th century and later torn down from a construction of a that later torn down for construction of a roadhouse that took on various names, such as the Brisbane, until he purchased it in 1978. Various urban legends and modern folklore claim that the site features a gateway to hell and is haunted by spirits, including Pearl Bryan, whose corpse was found in a field 2.5 miles from the site in Fort Thomas, Kentucky. Other legends claim Bryan's murderers were Satanists who cursed the location and vowed to haunt everyone involved in prosecuting the case. There is also a legend that claims a pregnant dancer named Joanna committed suicide with poison in the 1940s after her father murdered her lover, Robert Randall, a singer at the club, by hanging him in the dressing room. So right off the bat, we have some crazy shit. Indeed, we do. One of the big there's two things that I read, again, to refrain from repeating myself. I'm just going to go over it once just to let you know that you're going to hear about it more than once. So the first thing is Gateway to Hell. There's a lot of reports on that. And also Pearl Bryan. You'll hear that name come up quite often as well. She's apparently one of the big, said to be hauntings of Bobby Mackey's. Investigations have failed to find public records of any such events, and research into the property records, newspapers, and court files have failed to substantiate claims made regarding the history of the location. No connection between Bobby Mackey's and Pearl Bryan murder has ever been established. According to science writer Sharon A. Hill, the nightclub is often publicized with tales of murder, curses, and hauntings. However, the current circulated legend has obviously enhanced and occurred additional details in the retelling over some 30-plus years. Hill states that claims of supernatural activity and a portal to hell are completely unsubstantiated. So this woman comes in. She probably takes takes a look around, looks at the bar area, gets a tour of the place, and pretty much comes to the conclusion that she didn't find anything. Just because you didn't find anything, lady, doesn't mean the place ain't haunted. But I get it. Like, obviously, there's a lot of stuff to work with here. We're talking about Pearl Bryan, Gateway to Hell, woman committing suicide, just like murder. Like there's just thick. This place is coated thick with a lot of dark and disturbing things. And we're not even halfway through this yet. That's the best part of all. The best part of all. Haunting rumors and claims about Pearl Bryan are promoted in books such as Hell's Gate by Doug Hensley. Author Andrew Young speculates that such legends about Bryan are a way to the gruesome details of her death. According to Campbell County Historical and Genealogical Society, the story of the murder of Pearl Bryan is continually exploited, and it is highly unlikely that her ghost haunts Bobby Mackey's music world. Northern Kentucky Tribune reporter Ryan Clark investigated rumors and took the $35 two-hour tour on 2 occasions, and concluding there was nothing that happened on our tour that would indicate that Bobby Mackey's was haunted. So let me address the first thing. Once again, Pearl Bryan. So I think this line stands out. A way to cope with the gruesome details of her death. So I can buy into that. Pretty much, Pearl Bryan was gruesomely murdered. And to cope, her family, her friends, and it's just been passed down through the years of people just thinking that, okay, she haunts this place. She was found 2.5 miles near Bobby Mackey. I don't know about you, but I've never heard of a ghost traveling 2.5 miles to haunt a place where she probably wasn't even murdered. So, I mean, if she was a frequent local at Bobby Mackey's, had herself a couple drinks, okay, I can buy into that one too. But there's nothing, we don't see that here. So I'm not really sure where the connection here is. Maybe it's because she's only 2.5 miles away, but 2.5 miles is that's a good distance, you know. Like I'm lacking the connection here between Pearl Bryan and Bobby Mackey. So I think that one holds a little bit of weight. As for Ryan Clark saying that there was nothing that happened on our tour that would indicate Bobby Mackey's was haunted. I mean, what time of the day did you go? Because I'm going to be reading a couple more things, and multiple people have gone. Multiple people have all experienced different things. This guy didn't experience anything. To you, Ryan Clark, I say, you just didn't experience anything. You didn't go on the right day. You didn't go at the right time, and you missed out. You missed out on a lot of hauntings, a lot of strange feelings, and perhaps even getting possessed by a demon. So, sucks for you, buddy. Let us move on. All right, I'm going to go over the various television shows that Bobby Mackey has appeared on. We're going to go as early as December 13th, 1991. Mackey and his wife Janet, caretaker Carl Lawson, were guests on the Jerry Springer Show. So apparently back in the day, before Jerry Springer was just complete ape shit and nuts, apparently it was maybe, I don't know what the topics were, but apparently in 1991 they had wholesome guests on, hence the reason they had Bobby Mackey. So I don't know. In 1995, UPN special Real Ghosts, also known as Haunted Lives, True Ghost Stories, featured interviews with the Mackeys. A 2006 episode of National Geographic Channel's documentary series Is It Real featured the nightclub. The 2006 Discovery Channel docudrama series A Haunting features the nightclub. I think I saw that episode. The 2008 premiere episode of Travel Channel's ghost hunting series Ghost Adventures featured interviews with former caretaker Carl Lawson and author Douglas Hensley. Remember, we heard his name earlier. The network later released a 3-part web series called Return to Bobby Mackey, and the nightclub was featured again on the program in late 2010. I don't watch Ghost Adventures, but I do watch it on occasion. I vaguely remember one of the episodes where they went to Bobby Mackey's, and of course, Zach Baggins was just completely off the freaking wall. I think he said, "Oh, dude, did you feel that?" I think he was the one that experienced a lot of stuff. Which again, I believe. Let's just go. We're like not even 10 minutes in. I haven't given you my thoughts. Do I think Bobby Mackey's is haunted? Absolutely, I do. I absolutely do. I wouldn't be doing this video if I didn't think it was haunted. The problem with Zach Baggins to me has always been the same thing. The reason I don't watch it is because the guy's a loon. The guy, he's trying to make a TV show. He's trying to make ratings. So he acts like he felt something way more than he probably did. He acts like he saw something when he probably didn't. But again, this isn't about Zach Baggins and Ghost Adventures. This is for Bobby Mackey's. My point being, he probably saw something, but he drags it out. So he drags it out, pretty much, is my point. The nightclub was featured on Travel Channel's Most Terrifying Places in America. I watch a lot of Travel Channel, probably like my second or third favorite channel, and I've watched that episode too, so I can vouch. November 16, 2011, the nightclub was featured on the sci-fi program Ghost Hunters. I don't know if I remember that one. I used to watch Ghost Hunters. I don't remember that episode. The nightclub was featured on an episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved titled The Ghosts and Demons of Bobby Mackey's. I'm doing this series partly because of BuzzFeed Unsolved, so I definitely remember that episode. And they actually went to Bobby Mackey's at night. So, I mean, to Ryan Clark, the guy that, I didn't experience anything, did you go at 3 a.m. when the BuzzFeed Unsolved guys did? Because they didn't really experience too much either, but they still kind of sort of captured something. And again, going at 3 a.m. versus going at like 10 a.m., 10 p.m., huge difference, buddy. The nightclub was featured on the TV show Paranormal Lockdown on Destination America, and the nightclub was featured on the show Portals to Hell. Okay, Paranormal Lockdown one was with Katrina Wyman, and I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but sort of remember that episode. The last documentary, the one I just mentioned, Portals to Hell, that's the one with Jack Osborne and Katrina Wyman. So they went downstairs to the basement area, and if I remember correctly, Jack Osborne just gets this like serious headache, and at one point, his friend comes in, and she's a psychic, which totally just makes this sound more ridiculous. But she said that she was getting this person, this woman, that was swearing in her ear, cursing nonstop, which I was just like, come on now, this is bull crap, right? But then the woman that was apparently in the basement with them kept saying Katrina's name. And I think at one point when they rewind the video, you can actually hear Katrina's name being whispered down in Bobby Mackey's basement. So that's interesting. All right, so that's the first article. I thought I had 3, but I did not. All right. Bobby Mackey's haunted history. So I'm going to read this, and then in the event that the one thing I'm thinking of that's not, if it's not listed, I will tell you about it. Because there always seems to be something that I don't read about, that I know about the place I'm talking about. Say that 5 times fast. All right. Today, Bobby Mackey's Music World is a popular nightclub full of dancing and good times. But this cheerful setting holds a much more sinister past. On this same site in 1850, a large slaughterhouse and meatpacking facility was constructed to serve northwestern Kentucky and nearby Cincinnati, Ohio. In the lowest part of the building, a well was dug and used to hold the blood, guts, and waste from the slaughtered animals. 'Cause that's normal. Some researchers have speculated that after the slaughterhouse closed in the 1890s, satanic cult activity took place in the building around the well. Animals, and possibly humans, were being slaughtered here for ritualistic purposes during secret meetings. So there was no mention of sacrifices and slaughterings in the last article. You see what I mean? So, the claims over 30 years just get bigger and bigger. It's like that game. excuse me, I'm stuttering over my own words. You tell somebody one thing, and by the 10th person, it's gotten so big that it's almost become unbelievable. And this one is she's known as Headless Pearl Bryant. All right, you know that. All right, so here's a little bit more on the details. We already know about her corpse being found, but let's get into the other parts. Pearl was pregnant, and her boyfriend Scott Jackson, a student at the Ohio College of Dental Surgery, he was a dentist, hmm, urged her to come to Cincinnati where he could arrange an abortion. That wasn't in the last article either. Ah, well, let's read where this story goes, shall we? Jackson and his roommate Alonzo Whaling attempted the abortion themselves. Oh my God, it's getting better. But something went horribly wrong. To cover their tracks, they put Pearl's body in an empty field and surgically removed her head, so her body couldn't be identified. They would have gotten away with the cover-up if they hadn't left Pearl's shoes on her feet. While on the gallows waiting to die, Alonzo Whaling vowed to haunt the area forever. Jesus Christ, that was not in the other article. So her boyfriend killed her because he tried to abort her baby himself. Good Lord. Okay, so that detail would make me think that somebody would haunt a place, but again, seeing as she was 2.5 miles away from Bobby Mackey's, I don't think it's her haunting the place. Wherever they were when she was killed, like that specific spot, that's probably where she's haunting. Alonzo Whaling vowed to haunt the area forever. Okay, maybe, yeah, maybe not. Pearl's severed head was never discovered. Some have speculated that Jackson had ties to a satanic cult, so the head may have been used in one of the dark rituals held in the basement of the slaughterhouse. Ah, there's the connection. Wow. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's pretty fucked up. Wow. All right. Let's continue, shall we? This has been quite a doozy, and we're not even 20 minutes in. Prohibition and the mobster years. The slaughterhouse was demolished in the early part of the 20th century, and the lot sat empty until the 1920s when a new building was erected that served as a casino, nightclub, and speakeasy during Prohibition. So, again, I'm going to go back to that guy, Ryan Clark, because he didn't experience anything. Dude, did you read up on the history of this place? It used to be a slaughterhouse. It used to be a casino. It used to be another nightclub. It used to be a speakeasy during Prohibition. Like, do you know what that spells out to me? Haunted. Haunted. It's been like five different cool things. Like, I don't I don't understand that, dude. I really don't. When Prohibition ended in 1933, E.A. Buck Brady bought the building and named it Primrose. After more than a decade of successful operation, his casino caught the attention of Cincinnati mobsters who tried to muscle their way into the operation. Wise guy, eh? When Brady refused to sell, the violence escalated with fighting and threats to customers in the parking lot, until Buck drew a gun on a mobster named Albert Red Masterson, who was charged with attempted murder and left the casino business in 1946. So, one guy and a mobster get into a fight in the parking lot of Bobby Mackey's in 1946, apparently. So again, like I think maybe even if the guy didn't die, maybe that's where he was probably most happy. So then when he did die, he probably went to Bobby Mackey's and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna haunt this joint, you know. This is where I have my best times." Forbidden Love and Tragic Suicide. The building reopened as a nightclub called Latin Quarter in the 1950s. Joanna, who was said to wear rose-scented perfume, a dance hall girl and daughter of the nightclub's owner, fell in love with a singer, Robert Randall, who performed there. She got pregnant and intended to run off with the young singer, but her father forbade the romance and used his criminal connections to have the singer killed. When Joanna discovered what had happened, she poisoned her father, then took her own life in the basement of the building. It is worth noting that Bobby Mackey's full name is Robert Randall Mackey. Mind blown. So, that sounds like a movie, doesn't it? Like, my God. So again, she took her own life in the basement of the building. But remember from the first article I read, there's no documents or evidence to suggest that somebody committed suicide down in the basement. In fact, there's not a lot of evidence of anything that I've said taking place. But yet, people experience stuff. So it's kind of like, take it with a grain of salt. Like, which way do you want to lean, you know? As for the whole Bobby Mackey being the same name as the guy who was the singer that died, so that's a very big coincidence. I don't know if there's a big coincidence. I'll just leave it at that. In 1978, after a series of fatal shootings at the Rough and Tumble nightclub, the local authorities were forced to close the establishment. So this one, like, that's evidence. It happened. They closed it down. That was the same year, in 1978, a young country singer named Bobby Mackey purchased the building and turned it into a music hall and tavern that still stands today. Paranormal phenomena has been present since day one. Though Bobby himself is skeptical, he'll admit that he doesn't doubt the word of family members, employees, police officers, and patrons who have experienced strange activity. Both the clergy and psychics have tried to help, but a dark force still seems to linger. Some still believe the building's basement holds the gateway or portal to hell itself, a reference to the long-abandoned slaughterhouse well. Stairs near the well in the old slaughterhouse have been deemed the stairs that lead to nowhere. Phantom footsteps can often be heard on these stairs. Some believe that spirits can't cross flowing water, so the rare northern current of the Licking River may be keeping the dark forces trapped inside the building. A former caretaker that lived in the apartment upstairs claims to have been demonically possessed by the spirits. His exorcism was performed in the club by a minister. Bobby Mackey's wife claims, I skipped over one. A patron claims to have experienced a suffocating heat, a flying trash can, and a man with a handlebar mustache repeating, "Die game, die game," Latin for "die well, dying good," in the men's restroom. So I don't think we're going to come across the thing that I mentioned that I happen to know about. So it's got something to do with that. So I'll try to remember to go back to that. Bobby's wife claims to have been overcome by the scent of roses in the basement, grabbed around the waist, picked up, thrown down, and pushed down the stairs by a force that resembled sketches of Alonzo wailing, screaming, "Get out, get out." She refuses to set foot in the club again. So Bobby Mackey's wife doesn't even want to go in the club anymore. She's like, "No, honey, I'm done. I'm just done." No. Bobby Mackey claims not to be a believer, but he did write a song entitled "Joanna" about the young girl who committed suicide in the basement in the 1950s. So even Bobby Mackey's banking off his own place being haunted, right? Like, you might as well. I mean, why not? Bobby Mackey's friend Doug Hensley wrote the book Hell's Gate, which connects the events of the past with the hauntings of the present. Historical photos of Pearl Bryant match witnesses' descriptions of a headless ghost dressed in turn-of-the-century clothing, and photos of Buck Brady also match descriptions of often seen ghosts. So the first article says that there's no evidence and there's nothing to connect them, but this one says that there's photos and the claims of what people see match the descriptions of the people who supposedly haunt the place. So I don't know. I kind of buy this. I like this article better than the other one because the other one's just kind of like, we don't really know. It's just a bunch of nonsense thrown in. But if like there's a ton of people that go into the same place and they all experience something different, but they at least all experience something, that means it's haunted, right? Hot spots in the club include the spotlight room and the catwalk over the stage, the well in the basement, the old china room, and the platform area near the kitchen. People have also claimed to see ghosts in the big pitted mirror in the main room. The club manager claims that on several occasions she would go through the club and make sure everything was turned off and closed down for the night. Then, hours later, she'd find that the bar lights were on, the front doors were unlocked, and the jukebox would be playing the anniversary waltz, even though the jukebox was still unplugged and did contain that song. I would imagine it meant to say did not contain that song. Can you imagine walking into a place and it's playing a song and the jukebox is unplugged and the song that it's playing, you know for a fact isn't in the jukebox? Oh my God, that's creepy. Another club employee has seen a dark, very angry man behind the bar and a spirit who called herself Joanna. She would often speak to him and leave the scent of roses in her wake. So I'm not sure about the whole Pearl Bryant thing. Like, I'm on the fence on that one. But Joanna, I don't know. I feel like there's a connection there because it said Joanna supposedly killed herself in the basement. Her father had her boyfriend killed. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's more. Um, that one's more substantial than the Pearl Bryant one. Although the Pearl Bryant story is pretty fucked up. Like, I'm sorry, that's nuts. All right. So I didn't forget. I remember hearing of I don't know, in probably one of the ghost hunting shows. I remember hearing a tale that there's a male presence down in the basement of Bobby Mackey's because in the hallway, just before you get down to the basement, there's the men's bathroom. And I heard a tale that there's a male presence down in the tunnels, the hallway in the basement of Bobby Mackey's that doesn't like women. And on several occasions, several women have gone to the back room so that they can go to the bathroom or just to go to the basement to check something out. And they'll see the presence of a man telling them to get out. And there was another occasion where the woman went to the bathroom and there was a man standing there behind her when she was looking in the mirror. There was a guy, this creepy guy, and the woman was so terrified that she just ran out of the place. And this was during a party or a busy night during Bobby Mackey. So the woman was so terrified seeing the man in the mirror behind her, she booked it as fast as she could out of there. Again, that's a story I heard or I remember from one of these shows. All right. I know that was a lot of information to digest, but tons of claims, tons of paranormal activity, a lot of stories to the reason as to why Bobby Mackey's is paranormal and haunted to this day. Do I think Bobby Mackey's is haunted? Yes. Do I think it's a portal? Do I think the basement has a portal to hell? No. Do I think there's demonic presence in there? Maybe. Maybe. If the whole Alonzo Whaling and Pearl Bryan story is true, then I would say yeah, that's probably where the demonic presence are coming from. But again, that's the one story I can't. It's truly fucked up, but I just can't. To me, it's lacking. The whole 2.5 miles away from Bobby Mackey's makes me feel like they're just trying to find a landmark, a popular, just so happens to be haunted landmark, and they're connecting the messed up story to the haunted landmark, i.e. Bobby Mackey's. So that's what I think about that part. I think Joanna's real. I already said that. I definitely think something went down with a girl named Joanna in that club. And it also keeps coming up. And Bobby Mackey, who said he's a skeptic, but he's got to believe it if he's going to write a story about it and bank off his own haunted club. You know, like why else would you do that? Um, I definitely think Bobby Mackey is haunted. Um, Ghosts, maybe slightly demons. I don't think there's a portal down in the basement. I definitely think there's a guy that doesn't like women because that I've heard that on two occasions. So definitely think that holds weight. So what do you think? Do you think Bobby Mackey's is haunted? Do you think any of these? Do you think all of these stories are true? Some of them. I've told you what I thought. So now the last question I will ask before I close for the night. Would I go to Bobby Mackey's? I believe I would. Not after hours, of course, but I would go during, a busy night. But seeing as I'm probably never going to find myself in Kentucky, probably not going to happen. What about you? Would you go to Bobby Mackey's? Or are you too scared? I hope you enjoyed this video tonight on Bobby Mackey's, and you enjoyed all the many crazy, haunting, paranormal, demonic, possessing information that I told you. Do stay tuned for the next week's video, where I believe I will be talking about Resurrection Mary, which is a old classic old tale. This has been Mystery Ghost Stories with Justin Bienvenu. Until next week, thank you for watching.